All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the next edition of our Franchise Your Business webinar series. Thanks for hanging with us here. I'm having a few technical difficulties today, and hence why, if you're checking this out, I am on. If you're watching this live or on a recording, I'm on my cell phone today because for some reason my desktop is just not cooperating with Zoom today. So thank you for your patience as everyone is getting synced up here. My name is Tom Dufour. I'm the founder and CEO of Big Sky Franchise Team. And today's session, we're going to be talking all about publicity, PR, and how that can be effective in supporting your franchise company and your franchise efforts. Now, our guest today is Lamont Johnson. He's the founder and CEO of the Art Department, a PR firm specializing in franchises, restaurants, entertainment, and lifestyle brands. And I have known and worked with Lamont for, goodness, I'd say at least 10 years in a wide variety of capacities through clients, through work of my own, and engaged with him and for company work as well. Lamont has experience that consists of PR campaigns on a local, regional, and national level. And he has over 15 years of public relations experience in spearheading campaigns for artists such as Lil Nas X, Lil Baby, Young M.A., Jason Derulo, and franchise and business opportunities in companies such as Shoney's, Slater's 50/50, The Slutty Vegan, The Original Hot Dog Factory, and many, many others. So with that, Lamont, I'd love to turn things over to you and make an intro and start the conversation about publicity and PR.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Yeah, that was a loaded bio. If I knew you were going to say all that, I would have shortened it some, but thank you so much for having me on here. And it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you guys about the importance of PR with franchising your business. I am Lamont Johnson, as Tom said, founder and CEO of the Art Department. My firm has been around for 9 to 10 years. And like Thomas said, I worked in the franchising space, a lot on the restaurant side, but in all sorts of industries within that sort of the franchising spectrum. A lot of people sort of, I guess, franchises or just people in general, they tend to not know exactly what PR is. A lot of times when people reach out to me, they just know that they want to promote their business. So a good way of how I explain PR, well, PR first is earned media. So that's different from paid media. So instead of paying publications to get published or to get on TV by paying, I pitch different stories and different variables so you can get organic press. The way I like to kind of make an example, which is kind of, this is an episode, this is a magazine, Jezebel magazine, right? And they have a section in here where they're talking about different bars that are new to Atlanta. So the difference with PR, with advertising is you would notice that a restaurant would pay to put an ad in to let you know they may have drink specials or any sort of deals. That's what advertising is. What I do is PR, so I will get your restaurant published in something like this, which this is sort of a recap of various bars where people sort of go to get information to sort of trigger purchasing and service or products. So I work with organic press. And with organic press, that is TV, that's radio, that's newspaper, that's magazines, that's a whole array of online outlets, including news websites, online versions of magazines, and digital magazines. And even when you go into magazines and print, you could sort of divvy that up between a short lead, which is newspapers, which things come out right away, and then sort of like magazines, which takes months in advance to sort of come about. Okay, so why PR is beneficial to you? Should I keep going?
Yeah, okay. That's perfect. Okay. That's exactly what I was going to ask, how PR might be able to help promote someone who's tuning in, maybe their franchise concept, or maybe they're working with franchise. How can that help promote a franchise brand?
Okay, so it can help on so many levels, and that's why I'm sort of immersed with the whole franchising industry and my business sort of just my business model. First and foremost, if you have a franchise concept, you want to position yourself as an expert in that concept. So let's say you're franchising med spas where they do sort of the massages or the Botox and all of that stuff. Let's say you're franchising them. When people sort of Google that franchise that you're trying to essentially sell, you should come up as an expert that can kind of talk about that. You know, you want to talk about maybe you lent some expertise to Men's Health on the top massages to get after playing pickleball or whatever it is. You want to position yourself as an expert in that subject or in that industry rather, because when people are investing their hard-earned money, want to make investments in the franchise concept, they want to feel confident with who they're investing with. A lot of times people are educated to get their knowledge. A lot of people get on-the-job training. Some people jump right into it and start owning the business and learning trial and error, but you still can become an expert in various different ways as long as you know the industry, you know, in detail. So of course, when you want people to Google that, you want your company and your position at the company to be a thought leader in that industry that adds credibility, that adds validity to your specific industry. Next is the franchise opportunities. The difference between owning a franchise and owning a business is with owning your own business, you know, you're coming up with everything, you're learning everything by trial and error, you're figuring out your own marketing, social media. But when you are franchising a business, you sort of have those systems set in place. You sort of have an idea how to market you, different operating systems, the POS systems, different things like that you kind of have a guide to do. You want to convey that to the franchisee. You want to let them know that these things are in place. You want to let them know the liquid capital it takes to become a franchise. And the proper way of doing that is going through PR channels. That's the Franchise Times, Franchising USA, the franchise side of Entrepreneur Magazine. So PR is an effective way for you to put the messaging out there that you're looking for franchisees and for them to actively see it and for it to be a call to action. So those are important. And lastly, a big reason of how PR can help your franchise is essentially when you're when these franchisees invest and they get up and started, they want to hit the ground running. Let's be real, everybody wants to make money out of the deal. So PR can really, especially local PR, can get that instant foot traffic. So whether you have a local restaurant, a mobile dog grooming company, whatever it is, when you get open, you want that instant foot traffic. And a great way of doing that is to be in a local paper, to be in a local magazine, to have the local news come out to your grand opening, to do giveaways on radio stations, and sort of PR sort of does all of that. So it sort of helps you position you as an expert. It helps you promote your franchise to franchisees, and it also helps the franchisees get up and running once they become, you know, open for business.
Yeah, no, that's great, Lamont, and I've seen that especially for franchisees as they're opening up new locations just to get some local press in their area, a local newspaper or something. Very often, right? That franchisee is really integrated in that community.
Right.
They're in one section of the county and they have their own little press, and you want the locals to know about it, like you said, to drive that traffic or potential customer base to them. So how does this work though? And how, I guess, how do you work with your clients in helping them get placements and going through this process? I think one of the things and reasons it's always interesting to have to talk to you about this is, to me, publicity and PR sometimes seems a little mysterious, I guess, is the right phrase. How do you get these publications or journalists and people to have an interest? And I'm not asking you to give your trade secrets, of course, but just to help get an understanding to someone who's maybe thinking about this or wondering how can they start taking advantage of these opportunities that exist.
Right. When people hire me, there's certain things that you need to already have in place. You need to be, you know, have an actual predicted date of when you're going to open your business. You need to have a website, fully functional website. and you need to have high-res images. High-res images are really important because with print, like the local newspaper and magazines and stuff like that, they take high-res images because, of course, when things go to print, the low-res become distorted, and now I've witnessed people miss out on covers and stories just because they haven't had the right images. So those are the key things to get started. Now, what I do is craft pitch. I take the background of your specific company. I take your background and I develop something like a pitch, which is different from a press release. A lot of times when people hire me, they're like, well, I want to put out a press release for this. Certain things are not press release worthy, not saying that the news isn't as important, but sometimes you need to pitch something that you can really bake the journalists in and get them writing a story. A lot of times when people open up release, they see a bunch of text and blah, blah, blah. And those days are kind of not over because people still send out press release, and there's certain things that you should send out a press release about, like as far as new hires, but stories that you want a quick response, you want to develop a pitch. And it's something that not as lengthy as a press release, but it sort of puts everything together for the journalist or for the producer. And nowadays, I pride myself on spoon feeding them. I pitch them whole stories to the point where they have no choice but to accept the pitch because I've already given them the whole vision behind everything. And yeah, I contact them, email, phone, and phone, some I text, some I call because I have different relationships with different people in the media since I've been in the industry for so long. But it's just about pitching them for different things, like, and staying on track of what's going on in the world. Like, for instance, let's say Kim Kardashian went to a restaurant and was spotted eating some vegan soup or something like that. And I have a soup client. Could get them on the news to talk about tasty vegan soup options that celebrities enjoy. And that's just something I pulled, but that's something that can probably get a placement, you know? So it's about keeping on trend what's going on in the world. And something that's pretty standard is knowing, you know, every day is a certain observance. Like, it's National Chocolate Day, it's National Chocolate Chip Day, it's National Seafood Month, it's National this, it's National that. So it's a day, month, and practically week for everything. So whatever industry you're in, you, your publicist, your marketing team should make sure you're on top of that. If you're a hamburger place, Hamburger Day needs to be your time. That needs to be when you're giving out some deals, your PR, you're going to be on all the local news stations. You're going to get something written up in the paper. You're going to blast something on your social media, and it all it all sort of works together. So it's always good when you hire a PR team to have somebody on social, because a lot of times what I realize also is with PR, of course, it helps businesses and, you know, businesses and franchise get out there, but a lot of people want PR for their ego. They want their colleagues to see them in a magazine, maybe the popular trade magazine that covers their whole industry, or they may want to get in that local paper in their local hometown where they weren't so popular when they were growing up. Now they just want to kind of brag to everyone. So whatever reason sort of it is, I just feel that when you're doing that, making sure you have the right social is a key component too, because once you get that press out there, of course it gets shares and likes and people send it to each other, but putting on your Instagram and all of that stuff, I find that it gives my clients that self-gratification as well. So
Yeah, great. Well, and how does it work with engaging, for example, with you or other publicists? Maybe somebody's new at this, or maybe they've worked with a publicist in the past and it didn't go so well. It didn't go as planned. They didn't get placements or whatever they might could have gone wrong. How do you respond, or what would you say to somebody that might ask that?
I get that a lot because a lot of my business now are like inbound with people calling or DMing me, like they might have saw something I did, or somebody might have tagged my company on Instagram. And a lot of times when I have discussions with them, they're like, well, why should I hire you? And then first I'm like, well, you call me, first. But no, honestly, I tell them the same, like PR is something that you are taking a risk on it, because this is the industry that I've been doing ever since I was in college, and then interned and worked my way up to start my own company. So I was always told not to guarantee placements to clients, because a lot of them say, well, how many articles can you get me per month? A lot of them ask that, and a lot of times I don't I never answer the question, but me knowing, especially if you're, let's say, a restaurant in Atlanta where I'm at right now, I know that restaurant, I know instantly I could probably get them 4 to 5 placements the first month just by calling a producer that I already know, like, hey, he's my client. But I still don't even say that because there may be things going on in the news that may take priority over your client. This crime going on, unfortunately, or different things and things with Trump and things that interrupt broadcasts and things like that. So it's just with you just understanding respecting the process, but at the same time staying alert because a lot of publicists are out here taking people's money and promising things and not delivering. One thing that sort of stands out with me is I'm always accessible. All of my clients will call me whenever, even when I take vacation. Of course, I want to enjoy the vacation, but if my client calls me really means something, I am going to answer the phone. A lot of times, ask, well, hey, what's going on with this or with the new idea? I'm always accessible, and that's one thing that you really want with a publicist because a lot of times you'll pay these people, and then when you call them, they're not answering or they're rushing you off the phone, and your initial thing is to feel like, hey, when you were trying to get my my money, you were answering the phone. So I always give my clients comfortability to where I'll talk to them whenever they need it, and I'm very transparent. I'm not going to promise you that you're going to be on Good Morning America if it's not anything that's really news, that's national news worthy. Just because you just opened a smoothie shop in this place, maybe we can do something to tie it in to something national, but it is going to take some work and some structure. I'm not going to just instantly promise you things that I can't deliver on. And I think that that's a big problem with publicists. And it's.
Yeah. Well, I know it's one of the things that I've enjoyed about working with you over the many years is just like you mentioned, accessibility. You're easy to get in touch with, and if there's a question or you need support, you've always been available. Um, Lamont, is there would now be an okay time to open things up? See if we have a few questions. I know we have some people on the line here. See if there's any open questions, or is there anything you haven't had a chance to say yet that you'd like to make sure you get across?
One thing that I do want to convey, because I did write some things, but the one thing because I pretty much addressed everything on here, but one thing that I can say is that the key, because a lot of people see what I've done with brands like Slutty Vegan, which is really, really insanely popular, and she continues to open chains. But she also does the work too, and she's all about giving back, which I feel like doing philanthropy should always be whether not everyone has the resources to do something big on a philanthropy level, like every year or, often. So even if it's something small, always give back because I feel that, that's putting the good industry out in the world and, karma comes back. But aside from that, it's always some sort of press that I feel like I can work with where my clients give back. News stations love to cover philanthropy. And of course, that's not the reason you're doing it. You're doing it because you want to make an impact in people's lives. But why not get the press behind it and, help your business and things like that too. So I think always, trying to put in, like if you have a restaurant, developing new menu items, giving back to the community, just try to be engaging with what's going on and just try to always expand your business and always try to think ahead. Don't look at it as, oh, I open my business, I'm just going to sit back and collect the cash, because once you get stagnant, sometimes the PR gets stagnant. And I always find I work best with people that are, hungry and that want to work in their respective companies. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Lamont. Thank you. And let's go ahead and open this up. I know we have some folks on the line here. Are there any specific questions? You can go ahead and type that in or raise your hand and we can unmute you here so that we can you can go ahead and ask your questions. Well, while we're waiting for that, Lamont, how can people get in touch with you or get a hold of you here? What's the best way for them to find you?
Yes, my website is artdepartmentpr.com, and that's ARTDEPARTMENTPR as in publicrelations.com. You can email me at Lamont, Lamont, at artdepartmentpr.com. And then a best way, what I tell people, is a way to get in contact with me or just to get a better idea of what I do in current form is to go to my company's Instagram page, which is Art Department PR, but department is abbreviated in Instagram. So it's ARTDEPTPR. And that's the ad. And I keep that like an ongoing portfolio because I've been doing PR for so long that my portfolio would be this thick in so many pages. So Instagram is a good way where you could just swipe and just look at what I've done. I don't put anything else. I don't put any memes, no advice, no nothing, just all press hits. So you'll see what I done like from up to like even to yesterday. So.
Amazing. Well, I'm not seeing any questions come through here, Lamont. So this has been a fantastic interview. I really appreciate it. And as I mentioned early on, to folks who maybe joined us midway through the session here, apologize for technical difficulties with my desktop machine today. So I ended up on my cell phone. And just want to give a great thanks to Lamont as a reminder for someone who maybe joined in a little late here. Lamont is just fantastic. I've had the honor and privilege of working with him over the last 10 years in many variety of capacities through clients that he's worked with and other resources. So I have full confidence in recommending and letting folks know about you. And I'm just grateful for you sharing some of your wisdom and understanding on PR today, Lamont. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, Tom. Thank you.
All right. Well, have a great rest of the afternoon and a great weekend, everyone. And if you're looking to share this with somebody later on, we will have this published up on YouTube next week, as well as on our other podcast, Franchise Your Business. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, everyone.
All right. Thank you. Take care.